Welcome back to another episode where I get to introduce you to another amazing person in my world doing incredible things. But before we get into it, let me ask you a question. Are you addicted to sugar? Have you ever stopped to think about how much sugar you are consuming on a regular basis and how it's impacting your health, your weight, and probably so many other things you're not even aware of? Well, our next guest is going to shine the light and make you a believer and help you realize how addicted we are to sugar. We are talking to Miss Christine Trimpe, who is an award-winning author, speaker, coach, and sugar licensed practitioner. Did you even know that was a thing? She's known for her remarkable transformational journey, which led to a 100-pound weight loss, and she has kept it off. She looks amazing. Her inspiring story has been featured on various platforms, including the cover of Women's World and in publications like First for Women and Reader's Digest, which has one of the largest circulation in the country. Her journey's also been highlighted as a top success story on the world's largest low-carb website, dietdoctor.com. Her mission is to inspire, educate, and encourage women to shed the extra weight they've been carrying, both literally and figuratively, so you can finally step into the joy and freedom you deserve. Christine, I'm so excited to have you on with us today. Welcome.
Thank you for having me, Angel. I'm so excited to be here with you.
Okay, so I know I'm sure this is a question you get asked all the time, and just give us a little background, like why the war against sugar and what was that journey like for you?
Well, if I had known during my 30 years of being overweight, eventually obese, and then eventually morbidly obese, the impact that sugar was having on my health, I wish I would have been able to discover this life-changing information sooner. So for those 30 years of dieting, I did a lot of yo-yo dieting, and I always followed dietary mantras like eat less, move more, everything in moderation. And everything in moderation would include having sugar occasionally.
Hmm.
And I was never really a huge sweet sugar eater. Like I would not sit down and eat a tray of Oreo cookies or a half a gallon of ice cream or anything like that. I was more addicted to the carbohydrates of like potato chips and
Mm.
savory things, right? The
Oh.
salty things. And then also because of the sugar addiction that was going on in my brain, if I did eat something in moderation, it would trigger more sugar cravings. So that would result in, are you familiar with the cycle of you eat something sweet and then you want something salty, and then you need something sweet and then you need something salty, right?
For sure, right? I think that's
Yeah.
every meal for me.
Yeah, yes. And unfortunately for women like me who have metabolic dysfunction, that's just setting us up for defeat when it comes to our weight loss battles. So really learning about the destructive nature of sugar in my metabolism and with the women I coach too. There's many, many women out there that are like me, men too, but I happen to coach women. uh, just discovering this wonderful information about removing sugar and carbs, a diet high in carbohydrates, especially refined carbohydrates, from my way of eating is really the important piece of information that I needed to set me free from 3 decades of obesity.
So 30 years, 3 decades, right?
Yes.
Like you get a real picture for how long. And this isn't the kind of thing you just turn off and say, I'm making a change and you see an instant, like you're instantly cured.
Mhm.
What was the pivotal point? Like what was the big shift for you that says, I'm now going to be sugar free. I'm now going to break this addiction. What was that for you?
Yeah, my turning point moment actually happened on a trip to the state of Colorado. I live in Michigan. There's no mountains around here, so I was really excited to go see the mountains and Rocky Mountains. I was there with my husband for our 25th anniversary trip, and he planned some hikes for us. And I did the flat path hikes pretty well. Like I didn't have a huge trouble with that, but he wanted to hike up to Nymph Lake. And when we got to the trail marker, I looked straight up and I was like, oh no, I'm not sure I'm going to be doing this one, but I did give it a try. And unfortunately, about halfway up that path, which was only a half a mile path, about halfway up there, I could not go another step. I was gasping for air. I was so exhausted. And I begged off from with my husband. I said, just go on without me. And he was like, are you sure? And I'm like, yes, I'm sure. I'm positive. I'm just going to sit on this stump on the side of the path like I had done for decades. I mean, that's the ironic part of it, is that I was always sitting on the sidelines of life with my kids' activities, family activities, because of my weight and my health issues. It just kept me sidelined. But in that moment, I was so defeated and I was so full of despair. I just remember like praying to God, like, God, I just want to feel better. I just want to feel better. Because after 30 years of dieting failures at that point, I never thought that I would ever be able to achieve a healthy weight.
Mm.
And so I just wanted to feel better. But at that moment, I got a new resolve in my heart. I came home from that trip. I determined that I was going to take the next best step for my health. And I did that by setting up a sleep study. I knew I had obstructive sleep apnea. I knew a CPAP machine would probably help me. And that really, truly is, in hindsight, that was the very first medical intervention that I took. And that was put me on this path to healing. So very shortly after that, I was diagnosed with fatty liver disease. And that's really like within 2 months of coming home from that trip, that diagnosis really scared me. And that's what really put me down the path of knowledge on learning what sugar was doing to my metabolic health. Um, I don't know where I read it. I didn't bookmark it, unfortunately, but just reading that sugar is a major hormone disruptor
Mm.
um, gave me the keys that I needed to reverse my fatty liver disease and just start this metabolic health journey of healing, and which led to the weight loss.
Right? So yeah, you didn't get on the journey to lose weight. You just wanted to feel better.
Yes.
And and I love how you said you were sitting on the sidelines of life. Right? There
Mhm.
was so many things that you couldn't participate in because you didn't feel well, because you were overweight, and
Yes.
getting that medical diagnosis. So this is, I mean, for so many, we know, like if you were given a medical diagnosis, I think that's probably a huge trigger.
Yes.
But it doesn't, you don't have to wait for a dramatic
Right.
medical
Right.
diagnosis to know
Right.
that what we are putting in our body is impacting us every single day in probably lots of ways that we don't even realize, because some of it's, kind of invisible. And
Mhm.
so as we're, talking to this incredible audience who might be feeling like, okay, this is me, you're starting to explain like that's how I eat, that's my cycle.
Mhm.
These are kind of the things that I'm feeling. What are so you had some medical things that were some first steps, but for for those of us who don't have a big medical diagnosis, what
Yeah.
are some things that maybe we should be looking for, or maybe start to make shifts and changes in our own lifestyle?
Yeah. I want to tell you about one of my best friends who actually was never overweight in her life. And we spend summers together up north in Michigan on a girls' trip every year. And she observed me changing my way of eating and really stripping it down and just eating healthy. I love to eat from God's good smorgasbord. That's what I call it, because it's like food that doesn't need an ingredient label, is mostly what I eat, focusing on protein, eggs, cheeses, dairy, things like that, fish. But anyhow, my friend Heidi, not very overweight, was diagnosed with pre-diabetes. So there, she did get a medical diagnosis, but had she not gotten that medical diagnosis, she would have thought she was perfectly fine, despite being a little tired every day and feeling like she constantly had to snack in the evening. So when she got that diagnosis, she cleaned up her way of eating, and it was amazing because she reversed her pre-diabetes. She is so metabolically healthy right now and back to like a nice natural weight for her. So yeah, there's people out there, I call them skinny fat. They
Mhm.
have like they're skinny, but the way they're eating is impacting so much in their body, their organs, their metabolic health, all of that. So it like I just love to encourage people to just think about the sugar that you're putting in your body. Like, what is the nutritional value of
Mhm.
everything that you're eating day to day? Sugar causes pain and inflammation. It makes your joints achy. It makes you tired. If your blood sugar is imbalanced, are you familiar with like the afternoon crash? Like you eat your lunch, you're working, and it gets to be like 2 o'clock, and you're like, oh my goodness, I really wish I could take a nap. That's your blood sugar coming back down after a meal high in carbohydrates. And that's where you get like the energy slumps and stuff. So it does impact I think it impacts everybody, especially, people that don't even realize they think they're eating healthy. But I was eating things like oatmeal, which is full of sugar, with blueberries, right? I was eating things that I thought were healthy, that were prescribed as a healthy thing for me to eat on a particular dietary program I was following. So it really does do a lot of benefit to like really truly examine how much sugar is in the food that you're eating day to day. And sugar destroys metabolic health.
I remember looking at an ingredient label, and I love how you say God's good smorgasbord, foods that don't have an ingredient list. But I remember reading a label on a yogurt container and
Mhm.
how much sugar was in yogurt. And here's the thing, like you were saying, I'm eating oatmeal, I'm eating blueberries. We are doing things that we think are healthy
Yeah,
options, right?
right,
I'm not eating a candy bar, I'm not eating a donut, right? I'm not
right.
eating a whole bag of Oreos. Like I'm eating I'm doing things that I think are healthy. I'm starting my day with a banana. Like, and it turns out like all like somewhere along the line, Christine, we've just been completely duped as to
Yes, yeah.
what healthy eating is. And so we end up on this cycle we cannot break from
Mhm.
until we actually are educated by somebody who actually knows and has been through somebody like what you're doing. And I know you've got a
Yes,
book coming out, you've got a program, you talk about all of
yeah.
this with your coaching clients. But I think probably more than what we put in our mouth, it's probably starting with what we're putting in our minds and how we're
Oh,
thinking. How does mindset play into all of this?
yeah, oh, absolutely. I always warn my coaching clients that the mindset work is going to be the toughest part of the journey. And I've been trained recently as a sugar licensed practitioner, so I have an assessment tool that is very powerful. It helps us learn and identify our food behaviors and our patterns, and it can tell us if we are a full-blown sugar addict, if we are a pathological user, or perhaps just a harmful user. So it's a really, really cool tool. Um, and then the thing to know about that is I am a recovering sugar and food addict. And I did put in the hard work to rewire my brain. Uh, the sugar addiction is a brain disorder. I mean, it really legitimately is a brain disorder that needs the attention of eliminating the sugar from your diet, like abstinence. Like you wouldn't ask, you wouldn't have an alcoholic offer them one beer. Like one beer is not going to hurt you. For a lot of sugar addicts, one piece of chocolate cake, you would think it's not going to hurt them. Again, there's that everything in moderation. But if you are a full-blown sugar, food, carb addict, that everything in moderation, that one piece of chocolate cake can send you on a 3-day, 3-week, 3-month, 3-year sugar binge and just put you right back in the cycle again. So yes, the mindset work is really difficult, but it's not hopeless because the brain can be rewired. The neuroplasticity in your brain, you start eliminating the sugar, and I coach a step-by-step approach. But as you day by day remove it from your diet, it does get easier. And I love to see, even for myself, about 2 weeks into that journey, I love to see the women that I coach just have this big epiphany like, oh my goodness, I'm not craving sugar anymore. And it really, the cravings are such a root of this. Like we have to get to the root of it. And we are craving sugar because our brains love that reward. They love that dopamine hit, that dopamine hit.
Yeah,
Hmm.
for sure, for sure. And also, so Christine, how do you handle like social events and social engagements? Because I just think there's so much pressure, right? To
Hmm.
eat, to drink, like to partake. And we entertain, right? We have company in town. I live at Disney. Like we live in the sugar capital, right? I feel like. How do you help your clients approach social peer pressure to eating?
Right. I mean, that is definitely a challenge. And I have a whole module to teach my coaching clients through that, to guide them through that. But really, I love to just lead by example. And if somebody that's not eating the way that I eat, finds it a little bit unusual, they might raise a question. If they are genuinely curious, I will talk to them about it, about the way I eat and how it's healed my body, my mind, and my spiritual health. But if they're just trying to like nitpick at it, like, oh, that's weird, or oh, I forgot you can't eat that. I try to redirect the conversation. Like it's not that I can't eat it. It's that I choose not to eat it because once you see health and energy and weight loss like I've experienced, you can't unsee it. And I don't ever want to go back there. But yeah, it is a tricky situation that you bring up, but it is totally you can navigate it with the tools, with the skills, with practice too. We do role playing too in our group coaching sessions. Like how would you navigate this situation? Then of course with the holidays coming up, we will be talking about that a lot.
Oh my gosh, how fun. So talk to me a little bit about the program because it sounds like it's incredibly supportive. You've thought of everything, uh,
Yeah,
right?
tried.
This is not, yeah, this isn't theory. This is the lifestyle. And then you've gotten the results for your clients. But
Mhm.
I think that so often, like we're worried what other people are going to say about us. We are addicted. We do think that we can't live without it. The shifts, we're not going to, if we could do this on our own, we would have hands
Mhm.
down, right? We would have figured it out. We would have done it if we were going to. So it's clear, right? We need support. We need to be
Yes.
in an environment that is not full of shame, but will actually give us the tools so that we can go out and live in the real world with this new
Mhm.
lifestyle. So tell me a little bit about how you work with your clients.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought up shame because part of the thing that I learned as this sugar licensed practitioner and knowing that you have a sugar addiction, it really gives us so much space for grace and to be able to release that guilt and shame. Like, oh, this isn't entirely my fault. Like, I've been given bad information. I'm actually hooked on sugar for a brain reason, right? So yeah, that's all part of my program. I did design my program holistically to address body, mind, spiritual health. My program is a faith-based program for Christian women. And it's all interconnected. It all works together. And I'm so grateful that I built it as a group hybrid type coaching program because there is so much power in group coaching
Mm.
because it's not just me saying this is what I did, this is like let's do this, follow me. It's a whole group of women who I know where they've been, we all know where each other has been, we know the sorrow, we know the sadness, we know the heaviness of the weight of that guilt and shame, we know what obesity feels like, we know what it feels like to not fit in places, and I'm talking physically and emotionally, and we just get each other. So having the weekly group coaching calls has really been empowering, and just and then I do meet with them like one-on-one once a month, and then I've created 13 modules for them to teach them, to train them, to coach them through things like social situations and how to plan and all of that stuff. So I'm so excited about the group coaching aspect of it though. That is like, I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it that way, and I'm so glad I did because group coaching, group coaching is amazing.
I remember making the switch myself, Christine,
Yes.
because it was all private one-on-one thinking that that
Hmm.
was where I was going to serve at the highest level. But you are right. You put the community together and
Hmm.
they support each other. And there's so much wisdom and collection. And yeah, I prefer it now overall. I
Yes,
think the
me too.
results are better. I think
Right.
a lot of times somebody will come in like, I want private coaching. I'm like, no, you don't. You really want group.
Yeah,
You're gonna
yeah,
love the community.
right.
And then in the fact that you've thought of everything. Now let's go back because you said you've got an assessment in the beginning. I know you have a great gift for our audience that we want to give them. And I think if you know somebody, you just feel like maybe this might be you. Maybe it's
Yes,
time to just learn more about what am I eating and how is what I'm eating affecting me. Even if I'm not overweight, even if I don't have
yeah,
a medical diagnosis, like we don't have
right.
to wait for the big scare to
Yes,
make a difference. We all like, and maybe we won't, we just want to be around longer, right? Like,
right. And be more
oh,
active. Yeah,
we are, and we've still got a lot of good life ahead of us. And so
that's
we want to
right.
live it and live our best life. Well, I love what you put together, Christine. And I know you have a book coming out. I want to hear about the book. And then I also
Okay.
want to hear about your free gift for our audience today.
Okay. So the free gift that I have, remember I mentioned that the root is cravings. And I realized all along that I was satisfying my cravings with junk food, comfort eating, and I really like my heart was just empty because of the guilt and the shame. And so I have this free guide called Crush Your Cravings. And it's the subtitle is the ultimate wellness guide for Christian women. So I cover top tips for your physical health, your emotional health, your spiritual health. So it's a PDF. If you grab it, you can get it at www.crushcravingsguide.com. And I'm sure Angel, you're going to put that in the show notes. And also, that will give you an invitation into my free Facebook community. And then you will hear more about the Sugar-Freed Me method. That's the title of my group coaching program, is the Sugar-Freed Me Weight Loss Solution. And then my book is called Sugar-Freed. Stop losing the weight loss battle, start gaining the victory. And this has been a passion project of mine in process for 7 years. It's going to be coming out in the 7th year from the time I reached my healthy weight goal. So it's a 7-year celebration, and it'll be releasing January 21st, 2025.
7 year celebration. Well, you know what? Hands down, and kudos to you for being that consistent. But
Yes.
almost like you said, like this is a lifestyle. This is a choice. It's
Yeah.
a decision that you've made. And
Mhm.
and I know when people, it's really easy to be the crab, right? And want to bring people back down, like just eat this and just do this and make us feel
Mhm.
badly for the choices we're making. But you've been so strong, you've been so committed. And I know your faith has a big piece of that. And I love
Yeah.
the trifecta, mind, body, and spirit that you're covering inside of the program. Grab this Crush Your Cravings guide. It's crushcravingsguide.com,
Yes.
crushcravingsguide.com, and
Yes.
plug into her community. Like, this is the thing, like as women, we just need to support each other and just make it normal. Just how we're seeing, alcohol-free cocktails now, becoming the norm on a lot of bar menus that I'm seeing. Like let's make this the normal, healthy, spiritually healthy, physically healthy in our minds. And let's
Yeah.
do it with Christine, right? She's already paved the way. She's set the pace for us. She's giving us the tools. She's giving us the resources. Christine, is
Mhm.
there any last remarks, anything you want to close out with today?
I just want to encourage anybody that feels like they are stuck in a cycle of yo-yo dieting. I had given up hope, but I had this tiny mustard seed of faith that I wasn't meant to live this way. And just getting up with the determination, you have to have the grit, the resiliency, the determination, and maybe it is a medical diagnosis that's going to move you to this, but there is nothing like living more energized, more healthy and free, and you are worth it. I 100% believe that God put each and every one of us on this earth for a purpose. He has a plan, and I always say when we feel better, we serve better. And so I love to build a little army of women that are going around serving people well.
Oh my gosh, I love it. I love it. Well, Christine, it's been so much fun. The more I talk to you, the more I fall in love with what you're doing and who you are as a faith-based woman in business, leading the way. Thanks for hanging out with us today. Go and grab that guide, crushcravingsguide.com. Share it with a girlfriend. You know who she is. You've already thought of her name. Right?
Mhm.
Let's do this. Let's do this together and let's rise above it and not let the enemy, right, take control of and allow these addictions to control our lives. I will see you on the next episode. I'm Angel Tuccy. Thanks for hanging out with me. Cheers, everybody.